We're continuing to follow a major story right now about how much Detroit police have cost taxpayers in lawsuits alleging misconduct.
According to documents obtained by 7 Action News, more than 300 people have been awarded settlements in lawsuits since 2008. Those can range from as little as $500 a settlement to payouts worth more than $3 million.
Yeah, during that time frame, that has led to more than $27 million in settlement payments. And that number very high compared to similar sized cities. During a 10-year period, Denver paid out $13 million and Minneapolis paid $21 million in police misconduct lawsuits.
And even though Detroit's number is high, the true cost of those payouts really isn't known because the city accidentally left off some settlements that happened during the past 7 years while we were investigating. Join us now from our downtown studio, former Detroit City Councilwoman Sheila Cockrell. This all happened before, at least most of it before you left council. Anything surprise you about this?
Good afternoon, Stephen and Joanne. No, not at all. You should know that when I was on City Council, Councilmember Mel Ravitz, long before I was there, began keeping track of the number of lawsuits. And from like 1986 to 1997, there was north of $100 million that was paid out in lawsuits. So this is not only not a new problem, it's basically a continuing issue that really does need a great deal, in my opinion, more attention, because this is a way that drains revenues directly out of the general fund.
Are these settlements a good idea? And by that I say we don't take these cases, or the city's not taking them to court. They're not going to court, they're settling. Almost seems like an admission of guilt. Yeah, we talked to the Detroit Police Commission last week, someone from it, and they said, no, it's not an admission of guilt, but that they, in some cases, don't want to take the chance of taking it to a jury.
Well, I think there's, given the pattern of police relations historically over many, many years, there is an issue of where residents serving on juries may come down. But the real issue here is that for many, many years, and I believe this is changing under Chief Craig, one of the simplest ways to file a lawsuit against the city would be for a lawyer, a defense counsel, to say the city had constructive notice that there was this particular training problem and did nothing about it. There needs to be a consistent, a really in-depth risk management program put together that links the kind of training that officers need to be able for the city to make a record in court that, yes, we are addressing the issues. And secondly, I really do think there needs to be internally in the culture of the department a different kind of expectation about what is public service. I think it should become a mark on somebody's record if you have citizen complaints filed against you, and not something that you simply try to find a way around. There are many great police officers serving in the city of Detroit and have been consistently over the years, but there's a consistent group of people, in my opinion, who see the job as a city officer in Detroit as more about protecting themselves and making a salary as opposed to providing a public service. That has to fundamentally change, or Detroit's department will not be able to get out of this pattern of really very large settlements.
Now, Ms. Cockrell, you mentioned that while you were there was somebody who kind of took it upon themselves to kind of keep track of all these settlements.
Yes.
We started looking into it, and all of our paper trail searches, we find there are actually settlements missing. So does it concern you that we don't even really know what that number is anymore?
Absolutely. At the time when both Mel Ravitz and myself were tracking this issue, that's a consistent problem. That's part of this sort of culture inside the police department that, in my opinion, has improved some, but there's a basic sort of contempt for accountability that needs to be altered in a very, very dramatic and basic way. That information between the law department and the police department just doesn't get reported, and it really should, in terms of, and I know this mayor is utterly committed to transparency in the city, in City Hall. I expect that over time this will improve, but in the meantime, yes, for me it is a problem that lawsuits just somehow don't get reported.
Let me say this. In a statement after our story, the city said in essence that they're proud of the improvements that have been made by the police department to become a model of constitutional policing in America, that improvements have been made in policies and procedures. Do you believe that's the case?
I certainly believe improvements have been made. I think Chief Craig is a change agent. I think Mayor Duggan is a change agent. But I believe right now it's a stretch to say that this department is a model of constitutional protections. That is not borne out by either the history of the department or what I know to be going on in many of the neighborhoods in the city. That is not accurate in my opinion.
All right, former Detroit City Councilwoman Sheila Cocker, we know you know what's what, so we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on The Now.
Thank you.
Still heading your way on The Now, Detroit, for the